On today's episode of RNT Fitness Radio, I'm joined by Kevin Duffy, a fellow RNT coach based out of Scotland who holds over a decade of experience in the game. Having known Kevin a while, I love the infectious passion he has for helping people transform their body and change their lives while at the same time getting them super strong in the process. In this episode, we talk about how Kevin got into the industry and why his love for art, graphics, and architecture has helped him as a coach, as well as why getting strong is the most important thing you can do for your body. As a competitive powerlifter who squatted over 2.5 times body weight and deadlifted over 3 times body weight, Kevin knows strength. And we go deep in this episode about the best ways to add strength, the mindset to take when you're trying to add pounds to the bar, and some cool milestones to aim for if you're serious about getting muscle. I hope you enjoy this episode. Before we go into the meat and potatoes of the podcast, why don't you tell the listeners a bit more about Kevin Duffy?
Oh, how long we got, man? So where I'm at just now, obviously, pretty much bridging the gap between wrapping up the gym floor and going fully online with you guys. I wouldn't say it's been as straightforward as some PTs' journeys. Straight out of school, right into becoming a PT and have an athletic background and kind of gravitate towards it. I'm definitely more of a creative and inquisitive rather than athletic person naturally. So it was always, back in school, it was always kind of just thought that I was going to be going into one of the more creative industries. Originally, I've spoken to you about this before, but originally I'd planned on doing architecture. And had studied in school to do that, and then basically got a placement for a very good English teacher of mine. Got me a placement and realised it was not for me at all, and had to to quote Akash here, make a segue and
the shift gears,
and so basically, I had to ponder about. Wasted a year, with
to university for architecture.
Yeah. So that was a bit, 7-year course. So I wasted. I'd applied for architecture, and it was a few weeks before exams that I realised that it wasn't for me when I got the placement, and so last minute shifted my my focus from a degree to the only other thing that I could look at the time that was kind of similar. Capacity, which was graphic design. Realized that I can't be creative on demand and it has to be from an interest within that year. Realized it wasn't for me. Had one other passion at the time, and that was training. So followed that, pursued a degree in sports science. Realized I actually do like this, and I can do this on demand and format it into some form of career. So whilst I was uni, started a Olympic lifting club. So, that was actually my first exposure to coaching on a higher level. And that was just through interest. So I got qualified in Olympic lifting through BWA, I think it was at the time. And asked the university for a couple of £1,000, bought some kit and started up my first Olympic lifting club for Napier. So we got that. I happened to be quite successful as a coach with that, and got one of my lifters to the British finals and medalled, got a bronze within 9 months of coaching. So we got that fully funded for the next few years. So I was at uni, and then turned my interest to powerlifting. Personally, had a bit of success with that myself. Stayed in that sport actually for quite some time, and then basically moved on to kind of body composition from more from the fact of just not that many people in commercial gyms are into powerlifting, into strength sports. More of your average people is mostly body composition, isn't it? So, started cutting my teeth in that industry and just kind of progressed from there. From an interest point of view, it wasn't originally my own interest because most of my original increases in muscle and gaining in size and stuff like that came from just getting stronger. It wasn't like a direct intention. So yeah, moved again, segued into the body composition industry, and realised that that's actually a little bit more of an interest in myself, because you can have much more of an impact. It's good training these young students to put up some big numbers in a lifting club and get 30 guys in all kind of cheering each other on. You can have a great time, but you're not really changing someone's life by putting 20 kilos on the squat, are you? Whereas, I was realising that, the kind of first big standout client for me was actually one of my first kind of elderly clients, Mary, who I taught to text during our sessions. It shows you the pace in which we were training at the time. But she texted me one day and told me that she could walk up the stairs herself, which she hadn't done for like 10 years before that. So I realised that actually there's a lot more to this industry than just putting some kilos on the bar. And that took me down the kind of the commercial gym side of things, and really got me hooked to the fact that I can help a lot of people make a big difference. So yeah, and then I've been in that since 2022. So yeah, the last kind of 7 years has been almost predominantly just body composition related.
I just fell into the industry almost by accident. Could you say that?
Yeah. So like, just by kind of playing to my interests, and yeah, I suppose trying my first interest, which I thought was where I should have been, and realised it wasn't, and then dabbled my second and realised this is exactly where I should be.
Yeah, you said to me one of the first things you said is after you came on board, and you said, "Can I make this document more graphic, because I'm very much a graphic guy." Yeah. So that's probably something that relates to your earlier sort of dabbling into that industry.
Yeah, so it's very much I'm a visual learner, visual and audio. I've quite luckily learned that early on, so I can absorb information a lot faster if I can picture it. So yeah, like it's understanding how your client can absorb their information as well is a big thing. So I think quite a lot of different ways of communication with that can make a big impact as a coach.
What drew you to architecture in the first place? Because it's a 7-year degree. You've got to have some sort of commitment to even apply, right?
I've never been scared of commitment. I've got I've been with Jade for 13 years, but she'll tell you that from another story though. Still not engaged, but
maybe this podcast will be the
proposal. Yeah, the spark. Yeah, best of luck with that one, guys. I can't pinpoint that back to it being a particular moment of where this is what I wanted to do. It was, you maybe third year in school, you sit down with the guidance counsellor and they're like, well, okay, what do you want to do? And they analyse your skills. And everything that I had at the time kind of pointed towards doing some form of career in some form of design. And when I kind of played about with that, I am interested in architecture, and that was the classes and the kind of skill sets that I was excelling in. So, whereas I kind of crashed. I don't know what the education systems like classes are in England, but like I crashed in higher PE, which is basically like the highest level you can do at school. I still aced it, but it wasn't my natural interest. I'd done that after I'd done my main classes.
Does that architecture background, graphic design background, does it come into play what you do now?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's still the same. It's the same thing, isn't it? Like coaching in and of itself is an art. So, if you're good at it, it becomes like an art. So you can, essentially set up a client on an individual basis, play by the rules, much like a designer, and then get it as fluid and kind of seamless with the client as you possibly can. And that does take a bit of kind of analytical mind and also a bit of an artistic mind as well at the same time. So I really do like the fact that every client is completely different, but there's still some structured systems that we need to follow.
Yeah, I like that. Playing by the rules, but still having the freedom to explore.
Yeah,
brilliant. So you talked about how you got into the industry. How did you get into training? That was a big passion of yours at the same time. How did you actually get into training?
Yeah, that's goes back to young kid trying to put on some a little bit of muscle and feel good about myself so I could go out clubbing. I mean, there's nothing more, there's nothing deeper than that. It was just feel a little bit more about myself. Impress a few girls when I was 13, 14. Fill out my t-shirts a little bit more. And actually, I just realised that it's funny when you go back to that. Like when you think back through your whole training career, like back then, I had like 6 or 7 different training partners, just because nobody actually enjoyed doing what they were doing. And like within the first 2-3 months or something, I had a York sand dumbbell set. The the old school stuff that I'd bought from the catalogue with my paper round money. But out of my friends, I was the only one that actually enjoyed it. I started to feel the benefit of it out with just looking, to get those bigger arms and those curls in the house and 500 sit-ups. I actually just started to feel better for it. So I actually chased more of an endurance side of things for a while because of the feel good factor. And then realised that wasn't for me.
Yeah, you started training quite young then, 13, 14.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I probably trained a little bit younger than that, but it was, sit-ups and crunches, not quite training, but doing some form of exercise. Yeah. And then I got a gym membership. I remember the local council, that was 16 to get in. And I snuck in at 15, but because I was a bit taller by 15, so I could pass for the 16, and I snuck in, and I started using the local gym from then. So it wasn't really. I'd say I probably started taking it a bit more serious when I originally went to study, just simply because there was no structure, and I was surrounded by people who enjoyed training and who actually had, at the time, from what I thought, quite a lot of knowledge on training. I'm actually still best mates with my first training partner from then, which, we've kind of bonded over a couple of sessions to start with, and it's went from there. But still my most horrific training partner to train with. But he brings the best out of me. But so it just really progressed from there. I actually started taking things a little bit more serious when I was about 19. And that's when my body actually started changing. I was like 19, 6 foot, just over 6 foot, 184 centimeters. And I was like, 71 kilo. So, yeah. And that's with my pockets full of change.
Soaking wet with your pockets full of change.
With the gym bag on, and then, kind of almost with a few pit stops in between, but almost in one straight swoop went right up to 96 kilos. So there was a lot of cake involved in that. Not done in an intelligent manner at all.
Your training has been very much powerlifting based and strength training oriented. So I'd like to go into this a bit more and talk about strength, the importance of strength, and some tips that you can relate to people who might be body composition focused, but need to improve their strength markers in key indicator lifts across the board. So that's a broad question. So let's start with let's start by your experiences in strength training with maybe talk about some numbers you've done. And how you set your own training up, and then we can talk across the main lifts that most people listening will probably be doing at some point in their program through the week.
Yeah, strong call out on the asking for my numbers, Akash. That's
Ben tells me you got some big numbers. That's why
you didn't tell me you were going to ask this. With the numbers. I'm going to preface this by saying I'm a much better coach than I am lifter, but so 83 kilo category, best deadlift's 240 kilos, not pounds, and best squat is 210, and best bench is 140. So bench is definitely lacking. Much
lifts though. Is that all raw?
Yeah.
In competition.
Yep. So
which federation did you compete in?
So just Scottish powerlifting, which is linked to IPF. So
brilliant. Yeah.
So fairly strict on the old the form and the white lights,
There's some strong numbers there, though.
But yeah, nothing elite. Like I've had one of the girls that I coached in 2015. She was 71 kilos and squatted 150. So I've definitely had a few freak lifters in my time that I've coached, and that make me look very weak. But yeah, no. When it relates to body composition, I think my background's I've been very fortunate with my background because if we look at fitness qualities and what actually relates to body composition, strength is the only one. So if you're going to excel in learning any fitness quality, it should be strength. So you can get more flexible in the gym and it will change nothing about your appearance. You can get a much higher endurance capacity and it will change next to nothing about your appearance. But if you get significantly stronger, there's no way that the cross-sectional area of your muscle doesn't increase, unless, you get those neuro adaptations and the technique adaptations to start with. But over a long period of time, if you're getting significantly stronger, you're going to get more tissue accrued, So I think like having a background on knowing how to get people significantly stronger has really kind of set me up with a good foundation for actually changing people's shapes and putting on some serious size on some of the guys that I train.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about the people who want to build muscle.
Mm-hmm.
What do they need to be looking out for when they're setting up their training or approaching their training to get these significant strength gains, which are going to translate into physique results?
Yeah, I mean, so first and foremost, it's actually creating that stimulus that's going to cause your body to adapt in the first place. So without going into like movement capacity and what actual movements suit your body, because that's like highly.
Let's assume that we can do the main three. Yeah.
If we go particularly general with this advice, first and foremost, you need enough of a training volume within that session to elicit a stimulus for you that's going to cause some form of adaptation. And then ideally you need to do that frequently enough and of exposures that you're not leaving times within the week where you're regressing. So ideally you want to be setting that up multiple times per week. So when I'm really trying to excel a certain lift, it will be programmed in frequently within that week. So if I take a powerlifter, for example, there is individual parts within these lifts as well. That each lift has its own personality in that sense. So they'll be programmed in more frequently than what you would see within a general kind of body part split. But if I was trying to improve someone's squat very quickly, I'd have them squatting 2 to 3 times per week, because there is a skill element of it as well. But the kind of volume and total work over the week can be distributed very well when you can recover from the stimulus with that. Deadlift is a bit of a different beast in that sense. Like I don't see a lot of people that deadlift with good enough form to do that in a frequency of 3 times per week. So usually the residual fatigue over the week is a lot higher, and that's actually not to do with the lift; it's to do with the form.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it heavy spine involvement?
Yeah. Well, that's poor form basically. So yeah, if you're pushing the technique of a poor squat 3 times per week, you also get that residual fatigue. But if there's a lot of people within the powerlifting community that will actually say it's just it's the movement in and of itself. But if you look at Olympic lifters, they're pulling from the floor on a daily basis, and with next to no residual fatigue in comparison. So, pulling from the floor can be done. It just has to be done a lot more intelligently. Well, pulling from the floor can be done with frequency, sorry.
You think it's because people go too fast to failure?
Yeah, so if you're lifting with frequency, you don't want to be with quite a high frequency, you don't want to be lifting to failure because you don't need that like high level stimulus with it from a workload point of view, because you're having smaller doses throughout the week. Yeah, so it's you do need to look at the total amount you're doing over the course of the week. And if you're increasing your frequency, you will be having to split some of that kind of volume over the week. Now with bench, that seems to be a different story. It still follows the same guidelines, but the total work and the total work within a bench in comparison to a squat and dead is a little bit less. And as a result, the fatigue that's kind of built up over it is less, which means that you can recover faster. So usually you find that quite a lot of the bench specialization phases will be 3 to 4 times per week.
Yeah. Have you ever done the Smolov?
Smolov Junior for bench?
Squat and bench, yeah.
Yeah.
So I run the junior for squat and bench, not at the same time.
Yeah, it's a death wish.
The squat thing completely annihilated me. It worked.
You say it worked, right? But did you hold it on to any of that?
I didn't hold it.
Yeah, nobody can hold on to Smolov gains. No, nobody.
Gains were like 15 kilos in a couple of weeks, and then like a couple of weeks. So then I thought, oh, you got to take a week off. Then you test your max. Then you go back to normal frequency. This is back then when I didn't realize you probably should have tapered the frequency.
Yeah.
I just went back to like normal squatting, and I was like, I think I'm back to my normal strength now. All that hard work
for nothing. Knees were killing you for 3 months. Yeah. No, it's I found that as well. Like I've seen quite a lot of extreme plans. You know, it's not necessarily extreme because like if you package that, if you sold that as an online ebook, and you were the guy that behind that, you would sell out because you're putting more progress on people in 3 months than anybody else in the market. But the thing is, you know, you just can't hold on to it at all.
No. It's like doing PSMF for 3 months and then gaining all the body weight back.
For sure. I mean, it's like if you take RNT, for example, like, you know, we've got a solid structure to take people through phases. And then we've got like this end structure, the consolidation phase that teaches them how to keep it.
Yeah.
So you're not just done at the end. Like with the Smolov, it's just like, all right, cool, you've done your process phase. See you later. Take care. Try and hold on to that.
I remember on the Smolov, you know, you do the third week, you add like, you've added already 15 kilos. And then they say take a whole week off and do nothing. You remember that, right?
Yeah.
And so for the first 3-4 days, you're like, you're thankful of the rest. And then all of a sudden you're ready to fire, but they just got nothing to do.
Yeah.
And I max out the week after. And I do feel that the fact that you've done nothing can't really help.
So this is one thing that, having coached a lot of good lifters, I can see the individual variance between this. So if I've got someone, say, who's squatting 120 kilos, and, you know, and let's make this relative. They're like 80 kilos. They're quite a new lifter. They're squatting 120 kilos, and they do something along the lines of Smolov. Now, they don't warrant it to start with, right? But if they did, the residual fatigue they build up on that program isn't going to be as high as someone who's, you know, squatting 240. So the amount of time that they actually take to recover over that may only have been the 2 or 3 days needed. So the stronger you are, because when I run these programs, one of my training partners, Thomas, he was deadlifting 320 at the time, about 95 kilo body weight. So his fatigue when I was doing these programs with him was so much higher, and I couldn't get my head around it that he was taking so much longer to recover. Obviously, in a bit of hindsight, you know, we clicked to that he was needing the full kind of weeks on these things, and he couldn't bench 4 times per week on some of these programs, and that's because, you know, he had a 185 bench. So you know, I'm over here. Why can you not do that?
This is like, you know, people run West Side Barbell in its true form, where, you know, you rotate lifts over 8 to 12 week cycles, and you get people who aren't ready for it, who do it too early, and they find every time they come back to it, they just can't make any progress because they don't create enough stimulus, and they're not efficient enough to be able to lock into a new movement right there and then each week.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's my biggest issue with like kind of novice people doing that, is they're just not good enough.
Even the intermediate, I'd say, like you just need to be at that right point in your training career to be able to warrant advanced programming. But the problem is these advanced programs look so sexy.
They do. They're so alluring as well. Like, you know, doing 4 sets of 8. You know, it gets tedious after a while, but it's your bread and butter for most people. You know, focusing on tempo. I mean, that we're probably going to open up Pandora's box talking about that, but focusing on form, focusing on tempo, execution of the actual movement is just as important as the sets and reps. And if you're new to training, you need to focus on this first. You need to nail these basics. Then you do your sets and reps, and then over and above that, you start to be a little bit more intelligent about your program design over a 3, 4, 6, 12-month period, so that you can manage fatigue. But if you're not creating fatigue in the first place in the right areas, you don't you don't need to manage it.
That's brilliant. I mean, the biggest thing that I always say to whenever we get client videos, we always laugh about this, but one thing I always say, if I get like a leg press video or any sort of squat, I say, all right, cool. That's the warm up set. Where's the main set? Tell me the first 5 reps. Where's the rest of it?
Yeah. I'm trying to, obviously I'm young as a coach on your guys' terms, and I'm trying to play it cool with this, but I'm the same. Like I intentionally train with my best mate James because of how much harder he gets me to train. I already enjoy pushing a set to the limits anyway, which is why I do enjoy powerlifting, because it is challenging. Having that heavy weight on your back and actually feeling like you need to work is a big thing in and of itself. And then sometimes when you get these videos coming in, and you're like, yeah, that's going to cause you to regress if you keep doing never mind make progress. I feel like I'm going to hurt some people's feelings.
I think this is something that a lot of the listeners need to listen to. What mindset do you need to get into to be able to take these sets to the place?
Conversation the other day, because I train between a few different gyms at the minute, one of which is still the gym floor that I work in, and I cannot stand training there. And it's because like as a trainer, the gym floor is your shop window, isn't it? So if you're making a big song and dance and trying to get into the right mindset of going in for a big lift, like when I've got four or 5 plates on the bar, someone who's lifting a plate per side can't fathom the difference in how that feels in my hands. So therefore they don't understand like the different mindset that I have to get into for that, which is fair. You need to understand that. But
what are you doing? What are your rituals?
So if we go into that, like if I'm not training in my workplace, I can make a bit of a scene about it. Which is not a nice thing, and it's not as if I'm doing it to make a scene. But sometimes I'm not going to be speaking to people in a nice. I'm not going to be smiley. I've got the headphones in. I'm ignoring everybody. If I'm going for a big lift, I'll take a couple of minutes of pacing about before it, or I'll sit down facing nothing, and I'll get in my own head. And you have to be like that, though.
What do you think about?
Well, this is very personal. So when I first, the first powerlifting program that I ever started, actually was, I think it was Jim Wender 531. Yeah, another one.
Yeah.
I loved the setup of that program. It just wasn't. I wasn't strong enough to push good enough numbers to get quick progress off the back of it.
Yeah, I did it when I was too young in the training cycle. And then what I did? I ran it for 2 months and I was like, this is not working.
Yeah.
It's too light. It's too easy. I'm going to go to something else. But the thing is, I still think I was strong enough for it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I was the same. I ran it for like 10, 11 months or something. And I did get good progress, but I seen all my friends getting like, they're all making twice the progress of me. What's going on here? And I'm like, this program's holding me back. And it wasn't that. It was, I was just too weak for it. But going back to that, like I liked quite a lot of Jim Wendler's content back in the day. And he, obviously you've got your ones week, you're going up for a max. And I was reading one of his articles and it was like, take yourself to the darkest place you can possibly take yourself to. Like, think of the worst thing that you could possibly ever think. And the thing at the time, for me, I was thinking, right, what if someone tried to like jump my little brother, like, hit my little brother in front, and I've seen him get in a fight when we were kids, and it was a horrible feeling. So I thought, right, I'm going to think back to that memory, and I had chop suey on the earphones, so that's already got me amped, and to be fair, like I can channel that emotion very, very quickly, even without thinking about that memory now. So, if I'm going into competition, I don't do that on a set of bicep curls or anything. But if I'm in competition and I'm about to step on the platform, that's what I'm thinking of. Which is, it's good to be. It's actually pretty good. And that's, we're always preaching the kind of physical as the vehicle for the mental, and this is another element of it. I need to get myself into that mindset, but I also need to learn how to get right back out of it as fast as I can. because you can't walk off the platform and be in that mindset when you're trying to congratulate the judge or thank the judge, So, being able to regulate your mood has been a big thing that I've learned through lifting, which you just wouldn't think that would be the case. Obviously you get the good mood because you get the endorphins and whatnot, but actually being able to check yourself as a result of doing a deadlift, it's like these are the kind of residuals that you get from training.
Yeah, that's really interesting. The thing you said about the family, thinking about your family in a really bad scenario, is something like I've done that a lot in the past as well.
Yeah.
I used to do it a lot on, I don't know if you ever did hill sprints. I used to do that a lot on hill sprints, but I used to picture something really bad happening at the end of the hill.
Yeah.
Someone was about to get kidnapped who was really close to me, and I had to chase them down in order to get there. It's really messed up. Right?
That will make you run though. It shows you the power of the psyche though, because for me, like I wouldn't repeat that process if I didn't get more out of it. Like if I'd done that the first time and got nothing out of it, then I would have been, this is a lot of bullshit. I'm not doing this again. But it wasn't, and I got a lot out of it. And the 1 rep max that I went in for felt like nothing in my hands. So so I try that again. I'll try that again, and before you know it, you're smelling salts, you're getting slapped on the back of the head.
That's all fun, right?
And I nearly got the last competition. I got I got a warning for that. Actually, I nearly got banned from not my training partner, but one of the guys who was with us, giving us a slap over the head. Apparently, you're not allowed to do that anymore in public. You need to do it. You need to do it in the warm-up area.
Okay. How many competitions have you done?
2 Olympic lifting and 4 powerlifting, so 6 in total. Yeah.
Brilliant. That mindset thing. What are you doing now with it? Take out the power. You're not powerlifting now, are you?
No. So I'm taking a bit of a break from that actually, but I'm actually fairly close to my lifetime goals. I want to do a 260 deadlift because it looks badass doing 6 plates, and I want to do that at 80 kilo body weight as well.
What are you now?
So I'll run you through this. I'm 89, and but that and the squat as well. My squat never really changes in strength too much. It's more just like energy levels. So same with body weight. Like if I'm 10 kilo lighter, I can still seem to squat the same amount, which is nice. It's a good thing. And my bench goes to shit though. But the squat and deadlift seem fairly constant as long as my food's there. So I want to put 10 kilos on the squat, 20 on this deadlift, and then I'm going to put powerlifting to bed because it takes its toll on your body, and I want to move on to something else. But so intentions at the minute, I'm going to be in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be booking a shoot for the end of March.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Kept this one quiet from you guys.
That one really quiet. Yeah.
But so I've done a few shoots in the past, and it was more of just from let's get commercially lean, let's set up a website, let's look appealing to the masses, but I never got like, and I'm not saying I want to get stage lean, but I want to get as lean as I possibly can to put that to bed.
Here we go. This is what I like to now.
So yeah, so right now I'm trending down. When I was in Madrid speaking to you I was 93. So what's that? 4 kilos?
Yeah.
In a month. So yeah, just tidying things up at the minute. I'm going to continue that trend. Ideally be sitting about, kind of 84, 85 by the Christmas mixer. And then, kind of keep that going 82, 81 by the end of the year. And then that'll be about 2-3 kilos above the shape that you posted on the RNT Facebook. There was 80 there in that photo. So
the picture of you in that on the one website. Yeah. That's what 81 kilos.
Yeah. So I was 79 the week of the shoot, and then by the time I actually done the shoot, I was 81.
We're talking about 75 then for this next one.
Yeah, so maybe sub.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and go as low as I can. 84.9.
What are your legs like in that picture there?
Legs?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a touchy subject. I was so annoyed about this because that was my first ever shoot, right? And I'd spent about 2.5 hours shaving my entire body. And Jade had to do a second run. That was an experience. And then the photographer didn't even take any leg shots. My quads are probably the most developed part of me. My quads and my lats, like I would say, they're the two muscles that I've never really struggled to grow with.
Oh, it's powerlifting, right?
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, not a single leg shot at all. I've got like 2 photos that I took on my phone the day before. My quads look feathered, and I'm like, I should have just asked them. But so this time I want to get the walnut glutes in.
Okay, we're going walnut. Oh, brilliant. Okay, you're going to join the club then. Yeah. Okay.
Need to play top trumps.
Yeah. Who's got the most lines?
Yeah. Check these glutes.
Okay, so I mean, you're what? You said you're 6 foot. Just under 6 foot, or around 6 foot.
I was just over. I was 184 centimeters when I was like 19. But I'm powerlifting.
Really?
Powerlifting has robbed me of the 6 foot barrier. I'm about 182 now. Yeah.
You lost 2 centimeters.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's probably just 10 years of age as well, isn't it? Like.
Yeah, but you're not that old, are you?
29, but still. But yeah, no, for sure. But I set about 182 now, so 2 centimeters more.
So shredded would be, I mean, at your level of training and the amount of muscle mass you probably have, 74, 75 sounds about right.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. That will literally return me to almost the body weight that I started training, which is quite exciting to see because I've got some photos back then. Thinking I look like James Bond on the beach, and it's funny because I probably thought I was bigger then than I think I am now. But yeah, no, for sure, I'm looking forward to seeing what that actually looks like. I don't plan on staying there for very long, so the intention is get to that kind of body weight, and then do like a 3 to 4 month prep into a powerlifting comp.
Okay.
And that will give me a lot of room for feeding into that and actually trying to perform well.
That's where you want to hit the goals.
Yeah. Because I've always been around about maintenance calories going into a competition. So I've never really fueled performance. I've never had the buffer because you need to make the weight category.
What's the buffer? Up to 83 kilos.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can take 3 months to gain 9 kilos.
Time. So I don't want to do it like that. I'll hold for a bit after the shoot, get my energy levels back up.
Yeah.
Get training feeling well, and then I'll do like a 3 to 4 month stint pushing hard. And then that brings me basically, if I do that successfully, that brings me to the point where I'm looking to be traveling as well. So I can put training on the back burner and enjoy life a bit after that. Set
sail. You put all your walnut glutes, 6 plates.
Catch the wind with these walnut glutes. I'll be beach ready.
That sounds like a really solid 12-month plan you got coming up. I mean, that'll probably need close to 12 months.
Not far off it. Yeah, pretty much. So towards the very tail end of summer, going into autumn next year. So there's a few potential distractions in the way, but we'll navigate them.
So are you going to get the walnut glutes before or after Cancun?
Well, this is the thing. I'll be looking to do that for very end of March. So
just in time.
February, March, April, May, and what me and Nathan were chatting full of May for Cancun. So yeah, that'll be me just coming right back out and feeling nice and energized and leveled out. Hopefully in as a successful consolidation phase as you. So yeah, I was just calling Nathan out just now. Better sort himself out for Cancun.
Bring great consolidation.
I'll be on the beach with a kilt.
How are you going to set your training up?
So right now, I'm actually intentionally staying away from a barbell, other than variations that are not the main 3 lifts, because I'm emotionally attached to them. And if I'm going to be dieting down, I don't want to be doing anything that reminds me I'm not at my peak from a bench, squat and deadlift. Me and Ben have worked together on both sides of the coach and client relationship before. And the last shoot that I'd done, Ben was the Ben was the man with a plan behind the scenes there. And he got a message from me on the last month, and I was like, Ben, I love squats, but we're going to have to take them out. I was like, I can't even squat 180. Like, I do not want to be doing this. And it was just, it was getting in my head more than anything else. So we switched that out, switched it for split squat. That was probably the first time that I realized that your strength doesn't go anywhere as long as you're pushing it on some movements. So, I was pushing really hard on a split squat, but in my head, I didn't really have numbers that I had to hit. I just had to train hard.
Yeah.
So I went back to that. So right now I'm staying away from all those. I'm doing, my main barbell movements, like an RDL. So I'm doing two uppers, two lowers. And that I'm pretty much I'm programming myself pretty similar to what I would program an intermediate client. Just progressing weight on the bar on movements that I'm maybe not so fluent with. So there is easy progression there coming originally. Probably the only thing that I would say that I'm being a bit more intelligent with when it comes to program design is set structure. So I'm doing about 6 to 8 weeks of straight sets at the minute, accruing volume over the movement, and then I'm doing between 4 and 6 weeks after that of doing a top set and reducing total volume.
Yeah, I like that.
And then after that, I change the movements and repeat the cycle. And it's been working very, very well. So, and I'm doing, it's a lot of fluffy looking movements that I'm doing within my program at the minute. There's a lot of bands and a lot of cuffs, but I'm bringing up areas that from an aesthetic point of view, that have been lagging because I've been powerlifting. So
like your chest and
delts. So I've never struggled with delts. I think I'm just maybe it's the insertions or anything like that. The way that I'm built, it's actually just my arms more than anything else. I really struggle to get a connection within my arms, so I need to be very selective about what exercises I use, and the angles in which I'm setting up here, and the kind of the resistance profile, strength curve, making sure these are matching as best they can, or else I just don't feel my arms. So, just basically staying away from main movements, doing exercises that I enjoy, that I know that function well with what I'm trying to do for my body at the minute, and then just accruing some time under the bar with that.
Nice. Outside of training intensity, where do most women and men go wrong with when they're trying to build muscle and strength?
So just probably consistency and actually having that it's not the patience, actually, because it's not patience at all. It's actually just the perception of what they think that they can do within 1 month, because fat loss is very, it's almost instant gratification. You're delaying the enjoyment of meals and calories, but at the end of the week you've got some tangible results. Muscle gain takes a lot longer, so I think it's more just having the perspective of what's achievable within that month. I think what you're talking about is 0.25% per week of your body weight. 1% of your body weight per month.
For gaining.
Yeah, for gaining. I mean, that just doesn't look that much on the scale, does it? So, so if you go into it with that attitude, to know that I'm going to invest 12 to 24 months here to gain some serious tissue, then that gives you a different perspective, and you realise how consistent you need to be. Because it's not a 2-3 month fix here. With that in mind as your goal. So,
how do you get your head around it though? Because you hear so much, you see so much, and the shiny objects are always glistening in front of you. How do you get away from that and think, I'm only going to gain 1% of body weight a month for the next 10 months? 10% of my body weight.
It sounds disgusting when you put it like that, doesn't it? Like, you're like, oh, how do I do this? I mean, that's like someone saying to you that, you can never take a loan to pay for anything. You have to save up every penny of you. You have to save up before you buy anything. It's delaying gratification. And that, as humans, we're not very good at that, are we? Hence why everybody's in debt. But there's no hard and fast rule for saying how you can get your head around that. Like, you've just got to be a realist about the situation and say, right, okay, there is nothing that I can do to shortcut this other than be optimal with my setup. and then strive for optimal, which, it's very rare do we ever get perfection. I don't know how many perfect clients you've had over the years of coaching, but I mean, I've not had any perfect clients. There's always been something that we've had to navigate.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to, in these periods, just taking it away from the scale. You just have to.
Sorry. Yeah, for sure. If you put it onto some, if you're looking at the bigger picture as your only gratification, which is, if you're looking to gain 5 kilos of muscle on your torso, that's not going to happen overnight. So you need to break that process down and say, right, okay, what do I need to do that? Okay, I need to get significantly stronger in these movements. Okay, this month's goal, I want to break that down into, is my bench press going up by 5 kilos this month? Yeah, so again, to quote you, it's about shifting gears and what you're looking at. So you just look at different metrics. So if you're looking at gaining strength, you change it to performance, because as we touched on earlier, strength is the main quality, that's the main fitness quality that's going to indicate that you're having to gain tissue. And the tissue that you're looking for, lean mass. So if you change that, these can be very tangible, week on week and month on month. If you just look at your logbook and try and beat that, but not only try and beat it every session, set goals that you're trying to beat. In powerlifting, here's a good metric for you, a good nugget to take away from this actually. Most of our clients will be doing some form of hinge, so a deadlift variation. Within powerlifting, every weight category that you go up 6 to 8 kilos in body weight should be roughly about 50 kilos stronger on the bar.
Really?
Yeah. So if you're moving up in that sense, if you're, obviously it's not as black and white as that, but if you want to gain, 6 to 8 kilos of muscle, aim for a 50 kilo increase in your rack pull or your deadlift, with the same form, and you won't be far off. Nobody ever complains when they say,
you think elite numbers here.
Yeah, well, I mean, if this is looking at stats and averaging everything out, so it still goes, it still holds play for your more intermediate as well.
Yeah. So just to say, for example, let's use really generic numbers here. We got a 65 kilo dude or 70 kilo dude. Let's say 65 kilo dude. He wants to get to 68 kilos, which we know is a big difference. Same body fat. Over the next 2 years, what kind of numbers needs to add on to his, let's say,
lifting 120 for a set of 5 just now?
Yeah,
we'll be looking for him to at least be deadlifting 170 for a set of 5. So we just map that out and say, right, okay, this is what I want you to move up by. Now, again, you're going to get things like technical efficiency coming into play here, but if we take technique was dialed in to start with, then the only thing that can really improve that, because you're not moving the leverages anymore, the only thing that can improve that is getting stronger.
That's a huge jump. Yeah.
But I mean, think about it though.
Yeah.
Think back through your own lifting career, because I know you've done some powerlifting as well. Like, if you think about what body weight you were when you think back about your numbers, it's actually not far off from these numbers. Obviously you'll get some people that are outliers on both sides. Some people get more tissue for less weight on the bar, and some people will get
Also, I think I'm also forgetting that you said 6 to 8 kilo body weight jumps. Yeah, that's actually massive when you talk about muscle. That's huge. Yeah.
So
they only gain like 20 kilos in their life, really.
Yeah. Which if we correlate that, that's a 200 kilo jump in your deadlift. That would take you to elite level from 100 to 120. So, that would be elite level from a lean body mass as well. So,
that sounds actually pretty bang on. So if we use that 65 to 68 and we go half, that would equate to about a 20, 25 kilo jump in their lift.
Yeah, which is something that's a bit more feasible within like one block of planning.
Yeah, that sounds about right, actually. Yeah. Brilliant. That's a really good little nugget there from Kevin, just to put out there for all the lifters who are muscle building.
One thing I want you to take away from that is do not go and just try and put an extra 50 kilos on the bar. It has to be earned.
What is it on the squat and bench, out of interest?
I don't. I couldn't tell you. So I've looked at certain.
The 20 kilo rule is quite feasible for most people to imagine. I just add 20 kilos to your lift for the same rep range, same form over the next 18 to 20 months. That's a really good. You think that's 1 kilo a month if you break it down.
Yeah. Well, see, to be fair, like that's how I break my own goals down. I break it down, and realistically, when I actually break down what rate I've progressed at from when I first started powerlifting, it's less than a kilo a month.
Yeah.
Which is demoralizing when you actually think about it. The amount of sets and reps and work and sweat and blood, a couple of tears that you've put in, and you've gained less than a kilo per month. But that's a lot of mistakes and lessons learned in there, obviously, but which we're now passing on to clients, I suppose, which kind of shortcutting them. But at the same time, that if I could say right now that I would gain a kilo per month for the next 3 years, I would exceed any goal that I've ever set.
I'll take that.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's a good way to break it down, and I think a good way to start segueing into the final bit of the podcast here. Let's finish up on a tip for anyone new on their transformation journey. What are your go-to top 3 Kevin Duffy tips?
See, this is where you should have
transform their body.
You should change some advance notice. I would have had a nice script waiting for you here, Akash. No, so I was chatting to Nathan earlier in the week. Actually, we were chatting about like kind of what needs to be done here. And first and foremost, like the overriding thing is, you need to be willing to put the work in. We're your coach, and that communication back and forth, all we really do is create the consistency and clarity in the plans for you. So, we're essentially accountants within a different job title here. We're managing numbers and we're managing situations for you, and we're creating strategies and clarity. But ultimately, you need to be willing to put the work in. So having a clear, in fact, this relates back to your why, but having a clear picture of what you're achieving, why you want to achieve it, and what you're willing to do for it as well. So first, having that clear why, and what you're willing to do.
Yeah, understanding the sacrifice level is huge.
I mean, because everything's a sacrifice. If you're not sacrificing, the social situation for your greater goal, then you're sacrificing your goal for the social situation. So you just need to pick your sacrifice. It's a sacrifice either way. So
yeah.
And the second one is actually just having the correct structure for you. So obviously, any of our clients will have had that designed for them. So you don't really need to worry about that. It's just about being clear about how to implement it then. But for anybody that's not an RNT client just now, then having an objective overview of what your week demands from you and kind of what you're actually able to put into it, then designing a structure around that is probably your best bet. I know that's very vague advice. It's not something that you can take away and just apply and be like, oh yeah, do 3 sets of 10 on this, you're going to get great results. But having an overview of everything that's demanding your time and energy is going to create a lot more clarity in what you can do. And 3 is just breaking it down into bite-sized goals as well. So if you've got a big goal of, like, a few of my clients this week have touched on emails that we're going to be booking shoots within the next couple of months. Now that's great. That's their end goal from a physique point of view. But I'm breaking that down into them in actionable week-sized chunks so that they know that this week is what they've done has taken them one step closer to that each and every week. So yeah, that's probably my kind of 3 main things to clarify with it.
Brilliant. Love it. What are you most looking forward to in 2020?
Oh God, this is big. This is a big year for me, man.
Big year.
Honestly, first one, January, wrapping up the gym floor. I love that. I love the the kind of one-to-one, face-to-face interaction. It is a great part of the job. But wrapping that up and going fully online, it's going to be such a different thing. I've not been off the gym floor for the last 10 years. So it's just going to be a completely different lifestyle for me, which I'm looking forward to the new challenge of that. And then all the other things that brings with it. So, the traveling, fantastic. The freedom with that, the setting up every part of my own day. Yeah. And then actually some original parts that we've got already kind of pre-planned in. My favourite city at the minute, may not stay that way, but at the minute is Barcelona.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Huge fan of it. It's like London, but with a beach and a lot more culture. For me anyway. It's got the hustle bustle, but that nice chilled vibe to it as well. So I want to spend at least 3 months there.
Oh, nice. When are you going to go?
So that ideally it's not solidified yet, because Jade still has to take her sabbatical year from work. So when we get that penciled in, she finishes her masters at the start of the year. We get that penciled in, and that's probably ideally going to be late summer next year. So I'll be doing like a month with Nathan, just kind of shadowing him, seeing what it's like. Because obviously, as much as I'm traveling, I'm not on holiday. I'm still doing a working week. So, I'm going to be shadowing Nathan and seeing what that's like from a, being a bit more remote version. Pick up some skills from the master of that. He's been doing it for quite some time, and just implement that when I go with Jade.
Brilliant, very exciting times. That coupled with your walnut glutes and your
there's some more superficial stuff in there as well. But
6-plate deadlifts, walnut glutes, Barcelona, and living the lifestyle solution. Coming up, starting the 2020s the right way.
Going in hard.
Brilliant. Thanks so much for coming on, Kevin.
It's a pleasure. Thanks very much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here today on this episode of RNT Fitness Radio. I'd love for you to do a quick little favor for us. Please head over to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating, leave a comment, and share it with your family and friends. If you're interested in learning more about how to transform your body and positively change your life, go to www.rntfitness.com and explore all our free content on offer. Thank you.